doing more better to the society. This vision created us in deciding to have a dedicated cancer facility which will cater to all the cancer patients, which will with the goal of creating a fear-free from cancer to all the patients. Our goal is to eradicate the fear from cancer actually. That is how we created this dedicated cancer center. On behalf of my team, I welcome you all for this logo reveal of our upcoming cancer facility center. Our infrastructure is constructed in such a way that it brings calmness among patients inspired by the art. Having a compassionate approach is what MGM stands for. Once again, I take immense pleasure in welcoming all of you for this great event, and I require all of your support to take this MGM Cancer Institute to greater strides. Thank you.
We had about 45 members in our entire team. The hospital was yet to launch, and we were under construction. We had nothing but a promise and a lot of hope. And fast forward today, 4 years down the line, MGM Healthcare is, as you all know and as you all will agree, is among the top few hospitals, not only in Chennai but also in South India. We have been fortunate to have come to life during the most critical juncture to mankind in the past decade or two during the COVID time, and had the good fortune of serving thousands of individuals, not just from Chennai but from across the country. MGM Healthcare today is ranked among select organizations in the country which have done, which has to its credit a lot of firsts, which a lot of you friends from the media as well as our doctors will be aware of, and hence as a result the expectations from MGM would naturally be quite high when we decided to set up a dedicated cancer center. People have asked in the past, why do you not have cancer care when you do everything from neonatology all the way up to transplant services at MGM Healthcare, our flagship hospital? That was because we realized that with the disease burden and the number of patients requiring cancer care, we realized that there were very few dedicated cancer centers in Chennai, and Chennai hasn't seen a dedicated cancer hospital in the private sector in the last 2 decades, and hence it becomes very important that this is a large unmet need for the city, and hence the MGM Cancer Center, which we are about to launch next month, I'm sure gap in the market. What we are extremely proud of is the fact that this will be a one-stop cancer center, in the sense it will provide all care related to cancer under one roof, from preventive all the way to palliative care. And when I remember again recalling the past, when we had our initial logo reveal for MGM Healthcare, we were not as fortunate. We didn't have our clinical teams assembled. We just had our administrative teams. But today, in the midst of us, on the occasion of the launch of this cancer hospital, we have with us luminaries who have such a illustrious background, and including Dr. Raja, who very kindly accepted not just to lead the medical oncology program but also to be the chairman of the advisory board, and that way pave the way for how cancer care will happen in MGM. And we also have with us a team of very enthusiastic and extremely talented surgical oncologists. And we also have our radiation oncology, our nuclear medicine, as well as our clinical laboratory and our critical care team, all of them assembled today. In fact, I'm sure more than us as the management, the clinical team is excited and looking forward to stepping into this new building and calling that home. and at this juncture, I would also like to pass on the pressure to the team now. The expectations from the team is just as high, because MGM Healthcare has set a very high benchmark for what clinical care, but personalized patient care, the personal experience that every single person who steps into MGM will get. And we are sure that the team that is about to move and call this new facility their home will also do the same thing, but also do more and better. MGM Group, for some of you who may not be aware, we are 2 decades old. We run a medical university which is ranked among the top 10 in the country among private medical universities. And for us, setting up of this hospital is not just for treating patients. Of course, that is our primary objective, but also to push the boundaries when it comes to clinical research, to create a world-class clinical trials center, as well as to have the next generation of oncologists, both medical, surgical, radiation, train here and become confident that the MGM Cancer Hospital will not just be a leader when it comes to medical care, but also will be a leader when it comes to doing some of this cutting edge clinical research, as well as in training the future leaders in cancer care. And at this juncture, I'm thankful to each of you who have joined us here today. This brings back memories to me, because this is how we started 4 years back, and 3 years down the line we look forward to celebrating, 1 year down the line we look forward to celebrating the milestone of the first anniversary of MGM Cancer Center and sharing with you some of the cutting edge work that we do. And at this juncture, I will let Dr. Raja take over from here and run us all through what MGM Cancer Hospital wishes to do from a clinical perspective, and look forward to interacting with you all, with media, as well as the rest of the members during the inauguration of the hospital, which is very soon. Thank you.
Highlighted, the existing hospital has every conceivable specialty under one roof, and yet the management has decided to dedicate a separate freestanding institute exclusively for cancer care. Will highlight the importance of this disease in today's world. For members of the media, cancer is a disease which not only is very prevalent right now in India, but it is projected to increase at a rate of about 2% per year, and probably double in the next 25 years as per current projections. So you'll understand the importance. Or to put it more bluntly, everyone here has a 1 in 10 chance of getting cancer in their lifetime. So it's become as common as that. So that will tell you why we need an institute for cancer. Now, I started my journey with cancer 40 years ago, and it is true that at that time the majority of the patients unfortunately were not amenable to curative therapy, and we lost a lot of them. But 40 years have passed, and yet the public and to some extent the media behave in a way as if. But with cancer, it immediately evokes, even today, a lot of negative emotions, both the afflicted person as well as the near and dear ones. Immediately there is a fear of what is going to happen. There is a despair that their life is somehow going to end very prematurely. There is fear of suffering. There is fear of an impending death. Now, I want to assure people here, especially the media people, that this and in fact, this is where we would like to emphasize that our MGM Cancer Center want to highlight this aspect of cancer on equal terms, if not on a higher level, than simply taking medical care. So it is not just yet another cancer care center. We believe that the mind status is very important for enhancing the quality of life of the patient and the caregivers. Replace that with hope. We want to give relief to them. We want to give them the confidence, the courage to go through the journey, not in some kind of negative way, but with a positive attitude, and where they are able to go through the journey without suffering mentally. So this will be very much highlighted in the way the new institute functions. So the new center, as Dr. Prashanth emphasized, we are not only into care. See, every person in the public is concerned about whether they will be affected by cancer. There is this fear in people, if not on a regular basis, now and then, especially when they hear some person known to them diagnosed with the disease, definitely the thought crosses the mind. So we are addressing this issue in various ways. For example, I think it's very well known and yet practiced, usage of tobacco is associated with cancers. At least 1/3 of all cancers can be eliminated by elimination of tobacco. So we can help people with getting rid of this habit and thereby reducing the risk of cancer. We have tobacco de-addiction clinic as part of the prevention. Then we also envisage a genetic counseling clinic. See, the average person is very much afraid that if my mother had cancer, my father had cancer, will I get it? That is one kind of fear. And then there are people who simply worry. So in today's world, we have the tools, the technology to predict to some extent what the risk of an individual for a particular cancer is. So those kind of services also will be provided in the new institution. So this is part of the preventive aspects. The next aspect is, of course, early diagnosis. This is also being addressed by screening clinics where, needless to say, early diagnosis means cure, lesser treatment, lesser cost, better quality of life. So there are screening standards for some of the common cancers which will definitely be practiced in the new institution. At the other end, we need to have the technology to make proper diagnosis, for which the new center will have both the expert personnel as well as the equipment from pathology, from radiology, to provide us, the clinicians, the exact diagnosis, the exact extent of the disease, and even in today's world, we can even predict the response to certain medicines, to certain cancers, with the currently available tools in pathology. So all this is going to be available in the new institution. And the treatment from the clinician side is going to be based on experience and expertise, based on actual evidence. According to the whims and fancies of the individual, it is going to be the best possible care on par with the best centers in the world. Cancer treatment does not stop with the treatment. Post-treatment, there are a lot of issues to be addressed, and these also will be taken care of, both at the physical level as well as at the mental level. And of course, there are patients who require supportive care in terms of palliation of symptoms, either during the treatment or after. See, a lot of people think palliative care is a term which is like equal to terminal care. It is not. Palliative care simply means relief of symptoms. So in fact, it goes hand in hand from day one with the therapy of cancer and can continue beyond treatment also as and when the situation arises. So it's a specialty in itself, and this will also be provided. So the care at MGM is not going to be simply based on medicine and prescription. It is going to be on a different philosophy. Traditionally, for example, when I trained in medicine, patient care was doctor-centric. But now, our approach is going to be patient-centric. The patient's needs and how we as a team, both the medical and the paramedical teams, can address the patient's needs. Going through at various levels. It is not simply the physical level. What they are going through at the mental level, what they are going through at the social level, what they are going through at the emotional level. all these issues will be taken care of and will be kept in mind when offering treatment. And treatment is not a one-man army kind of thing. It's a multidisciplinary approach. Every cancer typically will involve at least 3 specialties: medical oncology, radiation oncology, and surgical oncology. And every patient will be discussed among these specialties and, if necessary, with other specialties. In fact, oncology is the only specialty where we need the help of every single specialist, whether it is an obstetrician, a psychiatrist, a pulmonologist, cardiologist, cardiac surgeon, gastric surgeon, anybody, you name it. Every specialty, their advice and expertise will be utilized for the benefit of the patient. Next. So in order to do that, of course, we need different departments. We have medical oncology. Medical oncology today is no longer just chemotherapy. In fact, we have moved on from chemotherapy to other ways of treating patients, particularly using something called targeted therapy, which is specific for an individual patient, which will target the disease. So it will not have the traditional chemotherapy related kind of side effects. And there is also a newer form of therapy called immunotherapy, which will enhance the immune system of the patient to fight the disease, so that it is not relying only on medicine. And it also has a more lasting effect. The effect of chemotherapy will last only until you give it. Immunotherapy, once it works in a patient, will last even beyond therapy. Likewise, in radiation now, we have very high precision radiation where there is zero damage to any normal organ. At the same time, the ability to deliver the machines that we are getting, the Electra machine which we are getting, for example, is state of the art, which will offer high precision radiation and also will be able to deliver radiation very quickly, which will also save on time on individual radiation dose. Surgery also is very much advanced now. We are hoping to have robotic surgery, and the surgical team that we have is very experienced and expert, and they work as a team and they involve their colleagues both from within the department as well as colleagues from other departments in order to ensure that the surgical process goes through successfully with minimal morbidity to the patient. And oncology cannot, as I already mentioned previously, do without the services of the radiation and pathology services. The paramedical team is also important at all levels, during treatment, after treatment, be it physiotherapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy. Psychologist is extremely important to offer counseling to the patient, sometimes offering counseling to the caregivers during their journey, beyond their journey, and so on. So we will be working at what is projected to be the future. You hear this buzzword, personalized medical care and oncology everywhere. We are in it, and to facilitate that, we need the gene study of patients. We can offer personalized care based on their individual need, and this will provide the best possible outcome for patients, and this is something which will be constantly updated as new findings emerge in this world. Next. Also, we have to remember that cancer is not the same across ages. First of all, the type of cancers which affect a child is different from those which affect an adolescent, which is different from those which affect an adult. Second, even the same cancer in different age groups tend to behave differently. The response to treatment is different, the outcomes are different. So we are hoping to have actually age-directed therapy subgroups where somebody will be able to focus on pediatric cancers in children, somebody will be able to focus on adult cancers, and somebody will be able to focus on geriatric cancers. In older people, there is a whole set of other problems. They often have other diseases. Their reserve of other major organs like liver, kidney, etc. are more limited. So all these have to be taken into account when offering treatment. So we are envisaging giving treatment according to all these considerations. And likewise, because of the advent of targeted therapy, we can also have system-based therapy. So these are some of the visions which we have for the new department. Next. Can you move the slide? Go to the next one. As I already mentioned, care as far as oncology is concerned, with many of the other diseases, as you probably know, once the disease is sorted out, people even stop coming to the hospital. It's just an episode in their life. But cancer is a journey. It's a journey where we become partners, the caregivers in the hospital as well as the patient and their personal caregivers. There are a lot of needs which have to be addressed post-treatment. There may be physical needs where they require physiotherapy, maybe orthotic support, maybe speech therapy, etc. There may be mental needs which we are hoping to address by various mechanisms. For example, patient support group. See, there is nothing like hearing from the horse's mouth. So when you can share your experience with somebody else who's been through the same experience, not only does it provide support, it actually provides solutions. Because the people who are unable to handle certain situations learn from those who are able to handle the situations. So it is a mutually beneficial experience. So we already have, in fact, a patient support group which has been initiated. We hope to continue and expand on this so that the partnership between the patients and the hospital, the oncology team will continue for the benefit of the patients. Because even beyond treatment, unfortunately in our society, many of the oncology patients carry a stigma inflicted on them by the rest of society, typically their own relatives and friends. So it is not always an easy thing. Even if they are perfectly okay, they have been cured, they still carry stigma with them. So we need to help them overcome these things, help them realize what they are now and help them carry the rest of their life in a very positive way. So we hope to offer all those kind of services in the new institution. Next. See, one of the things I always say in a hospital, if you want a patient to be happy, is that every member who works in the hospital, whether it is a security man at the gate, whether it's a receptionist at the desk, whether it's a nurse, any paramedical person, every single person can contribute to a patient's well-being, patient satisfaction, patients reducing stress, a smile, a greeting, a helping hand, an opening a door. Everything contributes in ways which the person doing it may not think it's very important. But at the receiving end, trust me, it makes a lot of impact. I have heard from so many patients feedback about these little gestures and how it made them happy, how it made them relax. So the ethos of our new center is going to be that every person who is in that place is part of the cancer care. It is not just the doctors. It is not just the paramedical people. Every person there is part of patient care, and they will be made to realize that and they will be made to practice that, so that we give a much better experience to the patient on cancer. It is literally a second life the way they perceive it. So when you have a second life, clearly it should be better than your first life. You should learn lessons from your first life. You should learn to prioritize. You should learn the right perspective of life, how you view life, how you view the world around you. So we are going to help teach the patients how to really enjoy and experience this life. So this is what MGM Cancer Institute will offer, and our team, everyone is equally important, and we will spare no efforts in ensuring that this is what we will do. Thank you very much for your attention.